I get it. I look straight out of the 90s, okay? All right, let's get it over with, all right? All right, now let's move on to the video. So coming out of the PlayStation Showcase, I know everyone's going to be talking about Spider-Man 2, Final Fantasy 16, or like Metal Gear Solid 3 Remake, which are all exciting announcements, they're really cool, but something else that caught me completely off guard was Bungie's announcement of a new Marathon game. For those of you who are unaware, Bungie, the creators of the original Halo games, and Destiny 1 and 2, are making a new game called Marathon. Now, before Bungie even made the first Halo back in 2001, they had another IP that was doing pretty well in the early to late 90s, and that was Marathon. Bungie released 3 Marathon games in the 90s. Marathon in 1994, Marathon 2 in 1995, and Marathon Infinity, or Marathon 3, in 1996. Now, after Marathon Infinity in 1996, Bungie went on to make the Halo games starting in 2001 with Halo Combat Evolved, to 2010 with Halo Reach, and then they moved on to the Destiny games. But now, 27 years after the last Marathon game, Bungie is finally revisiting the Marathon universe with a brand new reimagined Marathon game. In fact, by the time the game releases, it'll probably be closer to 30 years since the release of the last Marathon game. I mean, the first Marathon game came out in 1994, so as of next year, it will be 30 years old, which is crazy to me. Anyways, I want to talk to you about what we know about this new Marathon game and how it stacks up to the original Marathon games from the little info that we know about it. To start off, here's a quick synopsis that I found on the internet. The year is 2794. You play as an unnamed security officer on board the UESC Marathon, which is a large colony ship constructed within the Martian moon of Deimos. The Marathon's main mission is to travel to the Tau Ceti system and build a new colony on the humans' now 4th inhabited planet, or Tau Ceti 4. I'm sorry if I butchered that pronunciation, by the way. I really don't know much about Marathon, but I know its significance, which is why I'm excited. Anyways, however, the Marathon is attacked by an alien race known as the Four, spelled PFHOR, and it is up to you, an unnamed security officer, to stop them. The game is a PvE action shooter with the likes of Doom. While the game graphically looks and plays like Doom, it actually is very different, but that's just like the best comparison I could really give it to besides Halo. Now that's kind of the overall plot slash gameplay in this game, to my knowledge anyways, since I've never actually played any of the Marathon games. So please let me know if I'm missing a lot from the lore slash gameplay. I probably am, but you know, you guys probably know this better than I do, you Marathon fans anyways. Also, I'm not really going to talk about much of Marathon 2 or Infinity, as I feel like I can get my feelings and thoughts across just talking about the original Marathon and kind of grouping all 3 of the games together as just the original Marathon games. Anyways, when you play the first Marathon game, it gives off a very dark, eerie, mysterious, kind of weird, uncanny space feeling that's kind of creepy from time to time. It has a very similar tone to Halo Combat Evolved, which really shows in its action, its mystery, and its overall look and feeling. And with Marathon being the predecessor to Halo, you'd be surprised how much DNA Halo and Marathon really share and how similar they actually are. Marathon had an established tone that felt very unique at the time, and I'm happy to report that Bungie claims and kind of shows in their teaser that they are sticking to a similar tone. While it's not one-on-one, it definitely has that weird mystery, kind of creepy, uncanny feeling. However, the same cannot be said for the art style. The teaser gives off a very bright, vibrant, colorful, and different aesthetic from the dark and grungy predecessors that it's living up to. While I do wish they would keep the dark, grungy aesthetic of the original games, I can't say I'm not excited as to what they'll do with what they've made with this new game, if that makes any sense. This game seems to have nailed the vibe and feeling of the Marathon games, or at least the first Marathon, but it just doesn't look the part, unfortunately. It almost shares more DNA with Cyberpunk than it does with Halo, and like I said earlier, The original Marathon games share a lot of DNA with Halo, but the new one seems to be more cyberpunky than Halo-ish, which I'm not a huge fan of, but it doesn't mean I'm fully against it either. If you go to the official website for Marathon, you're greeted with a brief synopsis of what the game could potentially be about. The synopsis reads, "A massive ghost ship hangs in low orbit over a lost colony of Tau Ceti 4. Again, if I'm mispronouncing that, I'm sorry. I don't know. Maybe I don't know how to read. The 30,000 souls who call this place home have disappeared without a trace. Strange signals hint at mysterious artifacts, long dormant AI, and troves of untold riches. You are a runner, venturing into the unknown in a fight for fame or infamy. Who among you will write their names across the stars?" The Marathon website also alludes to the game taking place in 2850, where clone technology, quote, "allows a person to reliably shift their consciousness from their born body to new synthetic bodies and back again," end quote. The synopsis and other info given on the website and from interviews and stuff kind of just gives us a brief look into this new Marathon world that we're entering. First of all, with an interview with the Marathon game director Christopher Barrett, who has worked with Bungie since the original Halo Combat Evolved back in 2001, he does confirm that this new Marathon game does take place within the same universe as the original Marathon games, so that makes it more of a soft reboot rather than a full hard reboot, which I'm a big fan of. Based off the synopsis and the fact that the game could potentially take place 56 years after Marathon Infinity, I feel like this is a great way to bridge the gap of original Marathon fans and introducing the game to new Marathon fans. It seems the colony you find in the first game in 2794 is long gone in 2850, according to the synopsis. So I find that to be a very interesting concept that they could easily explore in this new game. The synopsis also lets us know we're playing as a runner, which I'm guessing is these synthetic clones that the synopsis talks about and that you can also see in the teaser, but that's all I really can guess about it because I'm not really sure what a runner is. One of the reasons I feel like the game seems and feels and looks very different from the originals is you're playing as a runner and you're just fighting other synthetic androids instead of being a survivor, a security officer, putting on Mjolnir armor and fighting off aliens. In the original, you're like literally Master Chief. You literally wear Mjolnir armor, that's what it's called, and you fight off hordes of aliens, and you're like really powerful because even though you're a security officer, your suit gives you a lot of power, like a super soldier. In the new game, the runner kind of gives off more Titanfall energy to me than Halo energy, which is very different.
Fast and agile. Graceful, yet devastating.
And that leads me into the final piece of this video. The game is only PvP. When I heard this, I was not very happy and it kind of killed my excitement, but it's being saved, and I'll get to that in a second. With the original Marathon games being single-player campaigns, this being a PvP multiplayer game only has me worried for two reasons: the story and the monetization. Luckily, the devs of the game have confirmed that the game will tell a story that pays homage to the original Marathon games. Since they do take place in the same universe, they can build off of what the originals made while making it something new, which is part of the reason I'm still excited for this game. Also, Destiny 2 is known for a lot of its microtransactions and just monetization in general with their yearly expansion campaign packs that cost a full like $60 each time. And so that gets me worried in that department, especially if the game goes free to play, which I'm really hoping it's not. So overall, I'm still fairly optimistic about having at least a decent story being told through this multiplayer game, microtransactions aside. Also, the game is labeled as an extraction shooter, which is pretty exciting to me because it's actually a genre I am very fond of and we don't see a lot of in modern gaming. The new Marathon game seems very different from the originals, and it's only a matter of time and talent before we actually see what it can do and how good it is. With the ups and downs pouring out of the news of this game, I'm just still optimistic that it can be a good game. It has the potential to be there. It has the potential to be great and return Bungie to their heyday, but we just need to wait and see. It could crumble and fall miserably, or it could be something spectacular. But nevertheless, I'm actually very curious if modern Bungie can pull off this marathon game. Keep in mind, Bungie is a very different company now than they were 20 years ago. All the people that worked on the original Halos, most of them are gone from Bungie. Bungie is a completely changed company, and the only thing that they share with the original Bungie is the name and their IPs. I'm hopeful they can still pull it off though, especially with the original Bungie talent leading this game, probably because they know the Marathon universe the best. That right there, that little sliver of hope gives me a lot of hope that this game can be good. Oh, and let me know if I got any info wrong in this video about Marathon, because I am by no means an expert. I never played the games. I'm mainly excited because I know how integral they were to making the Halo games, and Halo is my favorite video game franchise of all time. And so I've always known they've existed. I never bothered playing them, but I've always liked the vibe and the look and just everything they did and everything that Halo took after it. And so I'm very excited to see Marathon being revived after 27 years. Anyways, if you like the video, make sure to subscribe to the channel for more videos like this, or just anything covering gaming in general, or even, I don't know, anything newsworthy. Sometimes I cover Marvel and DC, so if you're into any of that stuff, go check out my other videos if you're not sold on subscribing to me yet. And if you are, then thank you for joining, and I really do appreciate you. Commenting also helps the YouTube algorithm, like, a lot. I know you've probably heard that a million times, but if you actually comment on the video, it actually does share my video around a lot more. So any engagement you can do with this video, if you like it, if you dislike it, comment. I would appreciate any of it. And yeah, that's about all I have to say today. I'm very excited to see what Bungie can pull off with Marathon, and I'm very hopeful for the future of it, especially since they haven't had a new IP since a new game since Destiny 2 in 2017. And them going back to an original game that they put out and, you know, reimagining it or whatever. Even with some things I agree with and some things I don't agree with, I can't help but be excited about it. And yeah, that's about it. See ya.